As China quietly works on what could be Asia's biggest warship, is Beijing sending a signal not just to Washington and Tokyo, but also to the world about where the next era of sea power is heading? With each new carrier hull rising in Chinese shipyards, are Beijing's blue water ambitions now sending shockwaves across the Indo-Pacific, forcing every navy to rethink its playbook? If China's new Type 004 supercarrier really aims to outmuscle America's Ford class, are we looking at the first serious challenge to U.S. carrier dominance since the end of World War II? Is Trump politically and militarily ready for a Pacific in which China's flagship is physically larger than America's, flipping a symbol of U.S. naval supremacy that has held for generations? And if this Chinese megacarrier can launch 100-plus jets and drones into any Taiwan fight, does it turn the island's surrounding seas into a far more crowded, contested, and dangerous battle space? China is reportedly assembling a 120,000-ton Type 004 nuclear supercarrier at Dalian Shipyard, a behemoth designed to push the People's Liberation Army Navy into true blue water territory. Defense analysts say the design directly targets U.S. Ford-class dominance, with extra room for fuel, munitions, and stores that could keep it on station longer and hitting harder between replenishments. Regional experts now treat Type 004 as a core piece of any future Taiwan war scenario, a floating airbase that could project fighter, drone, and early warning coverage deep into contested zones. Nicknamed a sea monster in some commentary, Type 004's full load displacement is estimated at 110,000 to 120,000 tons, pushing it past the size of most existing carriers afloat. That figure would nudge it beyond the roughly 100,000-ton benchmark long owned by the U.S. Ford class, symbolically putting China on top in the raw size race for the first time. Experts believe Type 004 will use a pair of nuclear reactors generating around 450 to 500 megawatts in total, giving designers enormous electrical headroom for launch systems and sensors. Nuclear propulsion would give the ship virtually unlimited range, with patrol duration limited mostly by crew stamina, food stocks, and how quickly the air wing burns through its weapons. That electrical surplus also enables power-hungry kit like electromagnetic catapults, high-end radar arrays, and down the line, potential directed energy weapons such as shipboard lasers. With 4 or even 5 EM catapults on deck, the carrier could launch fully loaded stealth fighters and bulky airborne early warning aircraft at scale, sustaining high sortie rates in a major fight. Estimates suggest Type 004 might embark an air wing of roughly 90 to 105 aircraft at full load, putting it in the same weight class as a Ford class in terms of raw numbers. The planned mix likely includes J-35 stealth fighters, upgraded J-15T strike jets, and KJ-600 early warning planes, giving China a blend of punch, reach, and radar coverage from a single deck. Analysts also expect heavy use of carrier-capable drones for reconnaissance, long-range strike, and electronic warfare, extending the ship's eyes and weapons far beyond the horizon line. China's Type 004 is expected to displace roughly 110,000 to 120,000 tons fully loaded, compared with about 100,000 tons for a typical U.S. Ford-class deployment. That would make Type 00 for the largest aircraft carrier ever built anywhere in Asia, while the Ford class remains the world's most operationally experienced nuclear carrier fleet. Type 004 is expected to mount 4 or 5 electromagnetic catapult launch systems, whereas the Ford class already fields EMALS catapults aboard USS Gerald R. Ford and her sisters. In combat operations, China's new carrier may reportedly carry more than 100 aircraft, while Ford-class air wings usually deploy with around 75-plus aircraft tailored to mission needs. Type 004 is projected to field J-35 stealth fighters and KJ-600 radar surveillance planes, while Ford-class decks currently host F-35C stealth jets, F/A-18 Super Hornets, and E-2D Hawkeyes. China's megacarrier is expected to enter frontline service sometime between 2029 and 2030, whereas Ford-class ships are already conducting global deployments across multiple theaters. Taken together, Type 004 embodies Beijing's shift from coastal defense thinking toward global sea power, while the Ford class remains the backbone of America's worldwide carrier strike strategy. US President Donald Trump is scheduled to visit China from May 13 to May 15 to hold talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing, according to official announcements from both sides. During the meeting, Trump is expected to press Xi over Beijing's relationship with Iran, with US officials saying Iran will be a central topic on the agenda. The Financial Times and other outlets report that Trump plans to raise concerns about China's support for Tehran, including trade and technology ties that Washington says help Iran withstand sanctions. This includes alleged exports of dual-use technology and possible weapons-related assistance, such as drone components and other items that can be used in Iran's military programs despite U.S. sanctions. The summit is also expected to cover broader issues including U.S.-China trade disputes, nuclear arms and strategic stability, and tensions over Taiwan, alongside the ongoing Iran war. This comes as regional tensions escalate, with only a fragile ceasefire in place and peace talks currently stalled between the warring sides. Iran's ambassador to China has said that any future Iran-US agreement must include formal guarantees from major powers to ensure it cannot be unilaterally abandoned. Abdolreza Ramoni Fazli said, "China and Russia are two major and influential powers, and given the position China has with Iran and other countries in the Persian Gulf region, Beijing can be proposed as a guarantor of any agreement." Iran has submitted a sweeping counter-proposal aimed at ending the conflict with the United States and Israel, laying out detailed conditions for a broader regional settlement. According to Iranian state-linked media, Tehran delivered the proposal on May 10 through mediator Pakistan, formalizing its position in the ongoing ceasefire and peace talks. The plan calls for an end to hostilities across all fronts, including the Israel-Lebanon border and the wider Gulf, while seeking explicit guarantees that the US and its allies will not launch fresh attacks. Iran also demanded war-related compensation, including reparations for damage caused by sanctions and military pressure, and demanded recognition of its sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran further called for the release of its frozen overseas assets and a short-term relief on oil export restrictions to ease the impact of the sanctions regime. Iran asked the US Office of Foreign Assets Control to suspend sanctions on Iranian oil sales for 30 days, presenting this as a confidence-building measure during the negotiation phase. The proposal also demanded an end to the naval blockade around its ports and key maritime trade routes, arguing that the blockade has caused major economic disruption. Sources told Iranian media that the counter-proposal includes a clause on Iranian management of the Strait of Hormuz, giving Tehran a central role in controlling and monitoring traffic.